Hey everyone, welcome to the Totally Well Show. I'm your host, Joyce Strong. The Totally Well Show is a place where we get curious, ask questions, and explore everything to do with health, wellness, fitness, personal development, helping people, and all the things it takes to help you live a strong, joyous life. My guest today is Kane Van Gate, one of my favorite interviews because it has to do with hockey, and you know how much I love hockey. Keith is the star of BHL 36, a YouTube sensation, as the character Kane Van Gate. He is an actor, a model, a social media guru. He is a hockey goalie coach and just a lovely man who really has captured the passion of hockey for all of us who haven't made it to the National Hockey League but still love hockey. So please reach out to Keith at Shutout Productions. Stay tuned for his full-length movie coming out soon, The Hockey Journey on YouTube. And be in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you, love to hear what you think. Hockey has everything to do with your health and wellness and well-being, and we spell it out for you here at the Totally Well Show. Welcome, Kane Van Gate. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, that is how you pronounce it. You're
Yes.
one of the first people to pronounce it correctly the first time.
Well, I heard you say it. I heard you say your name because I would have made it a soft G.
A lot of people do, which is understandable.
So I'm curious to know, where are you from? Where did you grow up?
St. Louis, Missouri. Born and raised, and moved around for hockey and for college, and then a little bit after college, but I've pretty much outside of that lived here my whole life.
Mm-hmm. And growing up, did you play hockey? Were you involved a lot in hockey as a kid?
Yes. I got somewhat of a late start. I started learning to play when I was 8, and then actually started playing organized hockey when I was 9, which kind of seems like a late start in the hockey world. I know on the outside, they're probably like, well, that seems pretty early, but always wanted to play hockey, fell in love with the sport, and wanted to play since I was 3 years old. And I was very, very persistent. And finally, my parents gave me a shot, and it seemed like a natural fit for me, and I've loved it ever since.
Yeah. So were you always a goalie?
No, my first 2 years I was not a goalie. And back then they did what they call pass the bag, where they have every kid kind of try goalie because it was a house league, the entry level league. And then I was just itching, chomping at the bit for my chance. And I was one of the last kids to finally get a chance. And I was lefty, so I had to get my own gloves. But anyways, when I finally got my shot, I did well enough for all the coaches to go up to my dad and kind of nudge him, like, hey, I think he's a goalie. And I overheard it, and I was like, Dad, you hear what they said? And so that all it took was that one game, and then I don't think I ever turned back.
That's great. So did you play then in high school, in college?
Yeah, I played high school and then played some AAA hockey when I was in high school, and then also played for my high school team.
Yeah.
And really lucky to have guys like Ben Bishop and Paul Stasny and Chris Butler, a few NHLers on that high school team. So it's cool, like back then, seeing, and they were younger than me, but kind of looking at them and seeing their potential and hoping they make it, and then they kind of see their path and then make it. It was pretty neat. And then I played a little bit in college. I walked on at a school in Bowling Green State University, and long story short, I was only there 3 semesters, and then had some injuries and stepped away from hockey for a while, and then went to University of Missouri and got in the journalism school there, which was a big deal for me. That's really what I wanted to study, was advertising in that school, and then played club hockey there, but which is very different from NCAA D1, but it was a blast. And had a great time. And then ever since then, I've been coaching goaltenders. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So it's a big thing. And then I was looking at, we met through Rochelle, but I was looking at your LinkedIn profile because we're both on there, and I see that you worked for a hockey company doing your profession in marketing.
Correct. Yeah. So that was my first, what I call real job, and kind of only real job, because people don't consider the whole acting, coaching thing to be a real job, but did that for about 7 years out of college, and, was at least sort of using my degree, and then got real deep into social media and then just content creation. And that's kind of, I think I found my niche there. And that's where I also met my business, well, not met my business partner, but worked with my business partner there. And we both kind of had that same drive where we wanted to create hockey comedic content. And our strengths are very different. So we made a good team, and we teamed up and started making videos together.
Yeah, it seems like it seems from what you told me is a little bit organic in that it was done more just because you were having fun?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Is that
Yeah.
true?
Yes, we did the one video, and to be honest with you, I didn't want to be the man on camera. I had no desire to be on camera. I wanted to be the guy who wrote the scripts and came up with the jokes and all that. And so I wrote BHL 36 for somebody else, and this guy didn't want to do it. We couldn't talk him into it, and
Yeah.
we didn't want to get an actor or anything. And we're just like, I had all this fancy equipment and all this stuff, and my friends kind of joked with me because I looked like an NHL goalie, but I wasn't by no means as good as one, kind of thing. So that was like a running joke, and so we just decided to make me the silly guy on camera, and then did the one video, and with no expectations outside of just hoping our friends and family found it funny, and satire, and like all our videos are. And then I think like a year later, it kind of took off and started getting all these views. And a friend of mine who is a professional hockey player named Mike McKenna, he reached out. He calls me during his off season. He's like, "This video is hilarious. You got to do more. I want to be in one." And so I was like, "Okay, I guess we're gonna do more." And then it kind of snowballed, and now it's a job, which is kind of funny to even say. But yeah, it was very organic. I mean, I didn't go into it having any expectations at all. So.
Were you an actor before, or are you aspiring now because now you see that you have some skills there?
Yeah, aspiring now. So to be honest with you, Joyce, like it's always something I kind of dreamed about and talked about with my close friends, but outside of my little circle, I never really I never thought it was too realistic, and I was just camera shy. And then for my former employer at Total Hockey, they had me do some product videos and things like that. I just remember being so nervous and shaky and just not liking it. And then all of a sudden, all the nerves went away, and I was like, "This is easy. Like this isn't that hard. It's just a camera." And then it kind of started to click, and then I got some confidence and thought, "Hey, I could do this." And then found I'm represented by an agency here in St. Louis, so it's just local commercial acting and modeling things, jobs, anything I can get. It's a small market, but I'd like to get some representation outside of St. Louis one of these days, like the Chicago's, New York's, LA, something like that. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, well, it's totally possible. It's you remind me, I don't want to like compare you to anybody, but you've got this capacity to just play it so straight. So maybe we should just tell our audience who you are, who your alter ego is.
Yeah, so my alter ego is a guy named Kane Van Gate. So we kept the same initials. Yeah, Gatesy, yeah. And so the funny thing is when I was growing up, everyone called me KVG, which were my initials, or Keither, or Gelsy, which my last name. And so we just changed it, made it Kaner, Gatesy, and now I can't go to a rink without being called the latter. But I signed up for it, so it's all good there. But yeah, it's been a fun ride, to say the least.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's such an unusual job, and then to try to figure out how to monetize it so that, because it's so much work when it kind of
right
to take roots. Now you're doing a full-length movie.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is something that has been in the works for almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
And we kind of knew it would be a year and a half process to shoot everything. But for anyone who's made a video of any kind, especially a feature length, they can tell you that the hardest part is the post-production. Not that it's easy to film scenes, but that's the fun artistic part. That was just an absolute blast. But then once you get to post-production, it's very challenging, very tricky. So it took us a lot longer than expected, but we're finally pretty darn near completion. We just have a couple tweaks to make, and then we're going to have our premiere January 27th here. So actually exactly a month from today.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was coming out so soon. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. And I got to put my plug in. If you ever want to do a hockey movie about hockey playing grandmother, just let me know.
Hey, I mean, that's the goal. I mean, for us, we're just hoping that, this is going to allow us to do more and create more. And, it'd be nice to have, more resources and actual budget and things like that one of these days. But, that's a long-term goal. And, going back to your question earlier about who's Kane Van Gate, it's just it's a satirical alter ego that I came up with. The joke's always on me. It's never on NHL or NHL players or the game of hockey. It's all pro hockey. The characters, he's not a jerk or anything. He loves hockey. He's just delusional about himself and his own abilities. And I find that there's a lot of guys out there, especially in the hockey world, that think they're a lot better than they are and say
Oh, I
things
played with
like,
them all in the men's league and the beer
yeah,
league.
yeah. So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So
I'm one of them.
yeah, and I've coached them. I've been around them, and I even had, when I first started coaching goalies, I was about 23 years old, and I had a guy who was around 29 at the time, which I remember thinking that was older, but now that seems pretty darn young. But anyways, I remember him talking to me, and he's just becoming a goalie, which is awesome. It's never too late to start, right?
Yeah.
And he was talking to me about going pro, and I thought he was joking. And so I just kind of played along, and then all of a sudden I realized he was serious, and I was like, oh, don't burst your bubble, but these pro goalies, first of all, they come from all over the world, and they're insanely talented athletes. They've been doing this their whole lives, and it's, you know, it's kind of disrespectful to think that you can just do it at age 29. You know, I had to kind of say that. And then it just kind of gave me the idea. I was like, wait a second. And that's kind of how it stemmed from. And we're like, let's make fun of these guys. And that kind of sounds rude. I don't mean for it to, but there's just a lot of delusional athletes out there. And I just thought it'd be funny to be one on YouTube.
When watching the parts I've watched so far made me, because I've done this and I've played with them and I've been like in the, what did you call it, out in the lobby for the interviews afterwards in the parking lot with the beer and the tailgate.
Yeah,
right?
the
Summer hockey, 20 game season, you know, like, but you get delusional and you think these bizarre things. You get out there and you warm up and you're like Gretzky or you're whoever you want to be. And it's great fun because you really go there.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. So yeah, it's fun. And the funny thing for me is a lot of people, I mean, if you come across a certain video, I think it's pretty obvious it's satire, but I think I told you this before, but if you come across another video and it's, you know, there's no prelude, there's no explanation, it's just this guy being himself, a lot of people are like, who do you think you are, kind of thing. And a lot of people realize it's a joke, which for me, that's the funniest part. And you know, so it's all in fun. It's I call it sneaky sarcasm. But yeah, I mean, it's quite burlesque, but we're having fun with it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So how does, one of the themes, you know, in Totally Well, my show is about health, wellness, fitness, personal development, helping people. I recently interviewed a fellow doctor who told me, when I told him my story, that hockey saved my life. And he's right. So for me, what hockey did was, you know, I raised 5 kids on my own. Talk about a late starter. I was nearly 50 when I started skating, and now I'm a level 5 USA Hockey level 5 coach. But I got breast cancer, and I got and I was in a bad marriage and all that. And hockey just gave me this escape, this place to go where it took all of my senses, my, you know, everything, to be able to coordinate all those things I had to coordinate. And people say that all the time. When I see you in the ice, Joyce, you're always smiling. Like through the bucket, they can see a big grin. It never goes away. And then, of course, sweating, you're detoxing, right?
True. Yeah.
There afterward, that I have to admit. But so, what about for you? How do you connect this with your sense of well-being and health? And
so I think you hit the nail on the head. And, you know, as a coach, you have to mentor a lot of kids. And so, you know, my parents got divorced when I was in high school. And so, for example, if there's a kid whose parents are splitting up or just dealing with some hard times off the ice, I sit down with them and I'm like, hey, buddy, let hockey be your outlet. Let this is how you blow off steam. You know what I mean? As soon as you enter this rink, it's just you and the pocket, you know, just going off exactly what you said. It's just such a great way to just block out the noise or whatever is going on in your life, whatever you're battling, or, you know, all that stuff, and just not worry about the things you can't control and just go out there and work hard and have fun. And for me, it's always been an outlet for that and such a stress reliever. And I try to convey that to kids who are going, you know, struggling for whatever reason or battling whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think you said it perfectly yourself. It's a perfect outlet to just blow off some steam and just, you know, release, refocus, and all that. So
yeah, I think it takes you out of you're just not able to think about the other things. It just takes you to this other place, and then you're superhuman on top of it. So you this equipment makes you superhuman.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, everyone has their ups and downs. People stress about bills and whatever the case may be. And I'm at a point now where sometimes it seems like the more frustrated or stressed I am with, everyday life or whatever, I play better because I go to the rink and I just block it all out.
Yeah.
Just block it out, and I just play, the game I've been playing since I was a little boy, and everything just feels sane and calm. And it's kind of like being out there and playing with my buddies in beer league is like my little oasis for me. And then also being a goaltender, you're an individual in a team sport, so I'm kind of on my own little island here.
Yeah.
But on that note, I love being that backbone guy, and I love being, the last line of defense. And, if you make a mistake, the puck's in the net kind of thing. I love that pressure, and all that kind of coincides with, what you said earlier about it just being a stress reliever and just a release.
I think it also, for me, and what I see for kids that it can do, and adults as well, is so people have to, this time of year especially, right? It's like hit the gym and do all those things, lose weight. And I'm more like, let's not go on a diet this year. Let's have a forever eating plan, and let's find out a way to move that we like, that isn't torture, that's fun. And so I see for kids and adults an opportunity to go out and do something very different, where you're moving without the intention of exercise, but the motivation to go get that puck or stop that puck or and then the laughs, because inevitably, especially if one of my kids is there, I'm going to get a hockey jersey pulled over my head, or there'll be a fight and I'll be involved. So there's all of that movement without exertion, without mental. And then there's the human connection. So getting divorced, so for adult hockey, for example, like what you're doing, right? And what I do, just sitting on the bench, I don't even see who's next to me, but I can feel their connection next to me. Can I have a drink of your water? There's just something about the locker room and I don't I won't see these people all week. If I play with guys, if I play with women, I'll hear about it all week on the email. Women, the guys are great. They leave it out there. But anyway, so I hear, there's so many health benefits and fun.
Oh, absolutely. And this because you're a level 5 coach, but just going back to what you said, about making it fun and about having it be exercise. But there's so many drills we have the kids do where we're making them skate their butts off or do whatever. And we make it fun so they don't realize they're working out. Or there's a little battle game I'll do with goalies sometimes called 3-puck. And they're just like, oh yeah, let's play 3-puck. And I use it as a reward. Okay, if you work hard, we'll play 3-puck. 3-puck is exhausting. They don't realize but for them it's fun. So they didn't even think about the workout part. You know what I mean? So it's fun working with kids and that. And then, when you're playing yourself, you feel like a kid again too. So that's something I hope to be able to do as long as I can, play hockey as long as I can. And then, eventually maybe hang up the pads and become a goal scorer. I don't know. We'll see. But the camaraderie on the bench, and I'm not on the bench, so I know what you mean, but but it's a little different for me. But it's just being in the locker room. That's probably the funnest part, is just hanging. And I'm good buddies with all the guys on my team. Everyone likes each other, even though we're all pretty different characters, but we all get along really well. And everyone has, respect for each other. And then, you have guys starting families and new jobs, and just to catch up with the guys in the locker room it's such a big part of it. And it's such a community feeling, so
you mix with people that you might not normally feel an affinity for. I think with my son will say, I just skated this morning with the president of the company, someone he probably would never run into in a big company. And now the guy wants him on his line. That's definitely going to help his career.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it's a great especially when you get older and it's pickup stuff. It's great for networking too.
Yeah.
I skated once with some Blues alumni, but it's mostly people who I think work for the Blues. This is a few years ago, and Tom Stillman, the majority owner, was out there skating, and I can't remember if it was right before he became the owner or right after, but it was right during that transition. I just remember thinking like, wow, like that's Tom Stillman. That's a very successful businessman,
Yeah.
thinking of myself, and the guy couldn't have been nicer and more down to earth and more humble. And he made sure I felt comfortable. I think it was right after he became the owner. He made sure I had a towel and everything and thanked me multiple times for coming out. And I'm like, it's just pretty neat to, to see someone that successful go out of their way to just make sure you feel part of the
That's
group.
because you're the goalie, because you have to be nice with the goalie. You can't play without the goalie.
Probably. And looking back, maybe I was his goalie. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe you're just trying to make me feel real comfortable.
There's nothing worse when you're putting together a pickup and the goalies don't show up.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing is if you're a goalie, you got to show up. Yeah. So maybe that's why my teammates like me, because if I say I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. So.
Oh, yeah. That's a reliable position. What about some of the life lessons you get to learn on the ice? That's another thing that, ties into our health concept is the team play. And what are some of the life lessons you've taken from hockey?
So life lessons are, even if you're the best player in the team, you're going to make a mistake. Everyone, I think if they at least grew up playing hockey, has been the zero and the hero before. There's been times where the game's on the line and you make a mistake and the puck's in the net, you lose, and it's a tough pill to swallow, but that's how you learn. That's how you become a better hockey player, a better person. That's how you know how to learn how to deal with adversity. And, more often than not, the team still has your back. Even though you made a mistake, they're just like, hey, it's okay, we'll get them next time. And that's just kind of what I think hockey's all about. And then obviously it's a lot of fun to be the hero who scores the game-winning goal and have your whole team, pile on top of you. That goes without saying.
That's never happened to me, but I'm still.
Yeah, it will, Joyce. You just got to be patient. There's those life lessons. It's just it's putting something that's bigger than you, like learning that something's bigger than you, no matter what. Doesn't matter how good you may think you may be or whatever. The team is always going to be more important than the individual, whether it's a goalie, a captain, it doesn't matter. And I think hockey, generally speaking, hockey players understand that it's the team. We're a part of something that's bigger than us, but it doesn't work if we're not all steering the ship the same direction. I think there's so many life lessons to learn from hockey, but I guess those are probably my biggest takeaways.
Yeah, it's a good one to, especially overcoming adversity, not making the team or having something that's not fair, whether it's you fall and get injured or you get put in the sin bin or something happens.
Yeah. There's a lot of, puck luck is a common phrase. Like, there's a lot of luck involved in hockey. How many times does it post and go out? If it's this much over, it's posting in, or vice versa, or I'll make a save and I miss it with my blocker, but it hits like the shaft of my stick and it's the luckiest save ever. But you're like, hey, it's still a save, you know what I mean? So it's just learning how to deal with the ups and downs too, because that's life. Life is ups and downs. Sometimes you get lucky, a lot of times you don't. So of course I'm biased because I'm such a hockey guy, but I think it's because it's such a game of skill and luck, and it's so heavy on the team concept. In my mind, I think it's the best sport as far as learning life lessons and just applying that to everyday life. No matter what you end up doing, whether you're a teacher, or a surgeon, or a coach, or whatever, you acquired some skills and some experiences that you can transfer into whatever it is you do professionally down the road. So.
Yeah, I think it helps, especially when you get into the girls' hockey piece of it. I think it helps people compete better in other venues, like in the classroom or in the business world. When you're, if you're able to sit shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of guys in the locker room or on the bench, or even play and be somewhat competitive in that, it can help overcome some of the stereotypes or inhibitions.
Yeah.
I have one daughter and 4 sons. I think it helped her.
Yeah, and I love that girls hockey is growing. I hope it continues to grow, and we have plenty of girls at our academy that we coach, and they're just a joy to coach. And I have a niece and 2 nephews, and it's just they're so different. And coaching the kids is different too, but I'm speaking in generalities. There's always exceptions, but girls are just easier to coach, to be honest with you. And they'll make eye contact with me. They'll listen to what I'm saying. If they have a question, they're not afraid to ask it. Where the
Yeah.
boys, if they have a question, they'll keep it to themselves.
Yeah.
I love coaching boys and girls. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, they're
girls,
different though.
girls
Yeah,
are
it's a different skill
different.
set. You have to realize they're girls or they're boys, and
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
But
I'm more verbal around the girls, I think, and more, I just cross check the boys or trip them or something and get it out of the way. I'm in charge.
yeah, yeah, they're different though. But no, it's awesome that girls hockey is what it is. I mean, look at the women's U.S. team; they're
Yeah.
unbelievable, and they're just getting better. So it's pretty fun to see.
I'm helping with the Boston Pride, the women's professional team
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Boston, with their nutrition.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Good for you.
yeah, yeah.
No big deal. Like you
No big
started at
deal.
50 and you're already helping out the pros. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Very cool, Joyce. Very cool.
yeah. So, and as far as this character, Kaner, is
Mhm.
there is there? I know the same initials. Um, and your story has a little bittersweetness about it because you didn't go to the pros. You had, we all think we're gonna go, or at least my kids.
Right,
I didn't thought I would, but I thought my kids would, and
right.
and so there's a little bit like that last game, and then so is some of this partly about you and coping with that kind of thing?
That's a good question. No one's ever asked me that. I mean, I made peace with. I want to say when I started playing AAA hockey, I was about 14 or 15 years old, and I played against the top goalies in Canada. And this is before they left to go play OHL and whatever. So I
Mhm.
was actually playing the highest level. And Mike McKenna, going back to the guy I referenced earlier, who had a 13, 14-year pro career, a very impressive career. He and I were partners on the same team, and we were both playing AAA for the first time. And we go up and we're watching these Canadian goalies, and we were both very impressed. And I think we both had this aha moment. However, I think he had I can do this. Like I can be better than all these guys. And I had I didn't want to admit this back then, but now looking back in hindsight, I think I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to play in the NHL. I had that realization. I'm
Yeah,
not saying the dream died. I mean, every hockey player still has that dream alive a little bit in the back of your head, I think. But I was pretty realistic about it. I think my goal was I wanted to, have a good junior career and then have a good college career, and neither of those things happened. But that was my goal when I was playing AAA hockey. I never thought about making a paycheck plan. It wasn't realistic for me, and I thought if I made it to the next level and did well, then maybe. But I don't know. I was actually pretty level headed with all that. I joked like I'm going to be in NHL, but I didn't really mean it. And so,
yeah,
but there's definitely a tie over. Like I love hockey. I love the coach. I love gear. So there's a lot of, it's not like, I'm, Leonardo DiCaprio playing some deep character that's so far off from him in real life. It's not like that by any means or any stretch, but I'd like to think I'm different than Kane Van Gate in real life.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. You play it so well,
Thank
and
you.
and the stuff that comes out of you can't be all scripted. It's got to be some improv in there, is it?
Yes, a lot of it's improv, and some of it is scripted. So
Yeah,
that's the funny thing is, I would say probably less than half scripted, but pretty close to half of it, at
yeah,
least bullet pointed, and then I'll just remember, the gist of what I want to get across. And then some parts of the movie were very scripted, like actually scripted.
yeah.
And for the most part, yeah, it's a lot of improv actually. Now that I think about it, I'd say probably 60, 70% of it's just off the cuff, and then whatever's good content we'll keep, and then the rest we'll just get rid of. And
Yeah, it's so
there's a lot
funny
of
when
bad
you're
stuff.
going, anything for the tea, and and I'm like, how many teas did I get, at the end of the season, everything for this $240 t-shirt.
And so, well, that part's real. I don't lose sleep over a loss. I'll be real mad for about 5 minutes, and it's
Yeah,
nothing to laugh or a beer the guys afterwards doesn't fix. But I I don't like to lose. I like to win. So like that part's real. We really do. It's competitive. We take it seriously, but as
yeah.
soon as the game's over, we shake hands and we just it's over with, and we just kind of move on and
Yeah.
get back to reality, so to
Well, you
speak.
do it so well. I feel like there's some realness coming through of, the,
For sure.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I'd be lying if I said that I'm fully in character. You know what I mean? There's definitely some crossover between me and the goofball I am on YouTube. But anyways, I appreciate the kind words and that you took the time to watch. So that
Oh
means a lot.
yeah. Oh, we had it on Christmas night. I was like, you got to see this guy because we're I gave birth to a hockey
Yeah.
family, so it's what we do. It's everything's got to do
That's
with hockey. So we're
that's
sitting
so
here laughing our butts off at you and
awesome.
ourselves.
Good. That's what I want. I want people to laugh.
But we're all the
Well,
same.
so I coach 7 days a week, or at
Yeah.
least I try to take a day off, but I'm on the ice a lot of times early mornings, but usually afternoons and every evening, and working with goaltenders specifically.
Yeah.
And then I do the acting, modeling stuff whenever I can, which, you know, you have busy months and then you go 6 months without getting a job. So it's definitely got real thick skin from that.
Yeah.
For sure. Felt thick skin. And then, yeah, so now we've been able to monetize this and been super lucky and work with some brands. And then, you know, you can get ad revenue from YouTube, that sort of thing. So I never thought I'd be doing this as a job, to be honest with you, but I'm thrilled. And, you know, it's not going to last forever. I know it won't. So it's already exceeded, you know, my expectancy. So hopefully it just keeps on going, but I'm just going to enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, it sounds fun. Is there, beside doing this, is there anything I can do to support you? Just, you know, shout it out, let people know about your premiere and all that.
Yeah, I think that'd be wonderful. And Joyce, I'm thrilled you took the time to have me on your podcast. It really means a lot, and that you took the time to watch the videos and all that. So I appreciate that. I mean, I can't ask anything else of you. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So much appreciated.
Well, it's my pleasure. Like I said, hockey has brought me so much joy and shown me things I'm capable of that up until, like I said, almost 50. I was a cheerleader in high school, but not like the athletic kind. I graduated from high school in 1971. So, and then I didn't even know I could play sports. And it was only until I held up the 5 kids at different times. And then once I got divorced, I was like, well, now I'm like mom, dad, I've got to be both.
Yeah.
And I think it was when I got sick that it just, I was like, I have to do this. It just like took over me. I was the crazy hockey mom that never did anything. And I was like, this isn't about you. I don't care where you go to school or if you go to school, I'm getting myself a hockey stick and skates. And I just like shifted it all to myself. And then so that was my big story of how, you know, you can work in the area that you love and not be, you know, in the NHL playing or at that high level and still be, you know, be able to use everything about hockey, the family, the cool people involved, and the language, all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the underlying themes of our movie, documentary, mockumentary, however you want to call it, is, you know, you don't have to be in the NHL to, you know, be hockey passionate, to have a job in hockey and to be a hockey professional, whether it's coaching or making YouTube videos or whatever the case may be. And so it's, you know, if you love something enough and you're passionate about it, you can find it a way to make it, you know, tied into your career somehow.
Yeah.
I've been really lucky to be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm very happy for you. Excited to see your movie and see where this all takes you, what you do next.
Thank you so much, Joyce. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for taking the time today. I know you had a long day.
Yeah, no problem at all. And thanks for having me. Thanks for sharing your story. It's so inspirational, and you're an awesome person. So I really appreciate you having me on.
Oh, you bet. All right, Keith. Thank you.
All right.
I'll be in touch.